Welcome to our Judges study. We're in Judges chapter 6. We'll start in verse 1. We're going to try to make it down through verse 21 today. It'll be about half of chapter 6 as we get into talking about Gideon. Now, we've had a lot of different peoples attacking and overcoming the Israelites and ruling their lives up to this point. Now we find another one. This time it says, as it always does after one of the judges dies and before a new one comes on the scene. Verse 1, the people of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord gave them into the hand of Midian for 7 years. So again, they let other people rule them instead of ruling the land as they're supposed to, because they're not being pleasing to God and doing the things He wants them to do. So Midian is this new nation that is taken over and is now ruling over Israel. The hand of Midian overpowered Israel, and because of Midian, the people of Israel made for themselves the dens that are in the mountains and the caves and the strongholds. So they go hide. They go make caves in the mountains to hide and to protect themselves. Verse 3, for whenever the Israelites planted crops, the Midianites and the Amalekites, so now we have another group that's come in, and the people of the east, they don't even have a name, they're just the people of the east, would come up against them. They would encamp against them and devour the produce of the land as far as Gaza. And they leave no sustenance in Israel, and no sheep or ox or donkey. So every time they would plant something, or every time that they would start to do something, they would, as soon as they got crops growing, as soon as their cattle were and their sheep and everything, then these people would come in and raid and steal it all from them, and they would consume it instead. This is exactly what God had promised would happen in Deuteronomy when He told them, if you'll do what's right, then one of you will be able to chase 1,000 of the enemy, and you'll be able to have whatever, and you'll get all of the spoils, and you'll have everything. But if you're disobedient to me, then you're not going to have anything. Everybody's going to take it from you. You're going to be chased. 10,000 of you are going to be running from one guy. And so this is the situation that they are in because of Midian and the Amalekites and the people of the east. Then it says in verse 5, for they would come up with their livestock and their tents. They would come like locusts in number. Both they and their camels could not be counted, so that they laid waste the land as they came in. It's very interesting. Actually, this year there's quite a plague of locusts over in the Middle East right now. It might be something to be interested in looking into and seeing what the locusts do when they come in. They say that 1 million locusts can eat as much as 35,000 people. So these people being compared to locusts, you imagine, they come in and they just eat everything green. They take everything, and their sheep and their camels, and there's just nothing left. The land is a wasteland after they are done. So then he goes on in verse 6, and Israel was brought very low because of Midian, and the people of Israel cried out for help to the Lord. When the people of Israel cried out to the Lord on account of the Midianites, the Lord sent a prophet to the people of Israel. So this is the first time we're reading about a prophet being sent. He saved them with judges in the past, but this time he actually sends them a prophet. And here's what the prophet has to say. Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, I led you up from Egypt and brought you out of the house of slavery, and I delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians, and from the hand of all who oppressed you, and drove them out before you, and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am the Lord your God. You shall not fear the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But you have not obeyed my voice. So they cry out to God, well, it's horrible the way we're being treated, the things that are happening to us. And God sends a prophet, and you know what his answer is? What's he say? You're getting what you deserved. You're getting what's coming. You were supposed to obey me, and you didn't obey me. And so they're getting what's coming to them. Sometimes it is difficult for us to feel sorry for others. We often feel sorry for ourselves, but it's hard for us to feel sorry for others when they do the very thing that brings the pain and suffering on them. Well, we do the same thing as well. We do the very thing that brings the pain and suffering on us. But we don't. We want to feel sorry for ourselves. We're like, oh, it's unfair that this is happening to me. Not if we brought it on ourselves. And here is the situation that they're in. Do you have a question? No question. So when the people of Israel cried out, the prophet comes and basically says, this is happening to you because you didn't obey God. Verse 11 then, the angel of the Lord came and sat under the terebinth at Orpha. This is a type of tree that was common in their area of the world. And the terebinth tree was a common place. And the angel of the Lord came, and he's sitting under this, and it belonged to Joash the Abiezrite. And his son Gideon was beating out wheat in the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. So they had to try to hide any food or anything that they had. They hid it. Because if the Midianites found it, they'd eat it up and they'd steal it and they'd get it. So here we have Gideon introduced to us. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said to him, the Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor. Now remember, here's your mighty man of valor. He's hiding in a wine press, making flour out of wheat so that the enemy won't find him and steal it from him. Does that sound really courageous to you? Doesn't sound very courageous to me either. He's hiding. He's just in hiding. But the angel of the Lord calls him a mighty man of valor. And Gideon said to him, please, my Lord, if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? And where are all his wonderful deeds that our fathers recounted to us? Did not the Lord bring us up out of Egypt? But now the Lord has forsaken us and given us into the hand of Midian. And the Lord turned to him and said, go in this might of yours and save Israel from the hand of Midian. Do not I send you? And he said to him, please, Lord, how can I save Israel? Behold, my clan is the weakest in Manasseh. So now we know Gideon's of the tribe of Manasseh, a descendant of Joseph. And I am the least in my father's house. So Gideon says, I'm a nobody. Why are you sending me? And this is an important message for us. We think sometimes that we have to depend on the president or the generals in the army or the senators or the judges to do the... God calls us, not just the preacher and the elders, to do things in the church even. All of us as Christians are supposed to do these things. Thea, did you have a question?
Forgot it.
You forgot it. I waited too long. I'm sorry. If you think of it again, raise your hand again. So he says to him, I'm sending you to go out and to win this.
Okay.
Verse 6. Yes, you got your question? What is it?
Who is speaking God's word to him?
Okay, this is the angel of the Lord. Quite possibly, this is Jesus before he came to be born to be Jesus. This is actually the second person in the Godhead that's actually here speaking to Gideon. Because remember, he's got the authority to be sending Gideon. But the angel of the Lord has appeared here. And often this angel of the Lord is the angel of the covenant that brought them out of Egypt.
What
Anna?
does it mean by he sends?
Well, he's telling him to go. He's giving him a job to go do. You know, like if I send you to go tell mommy something, or if I send you to go get your clothes or to put your clothes away or to fold the towel, I'm sending you to do a job. It's the same way that the angel of the Lord is sending Gideon to go fight a battle against the Midianites. All right, so here we are then. He says, I'm nobody. And the Lord said to him in verse 16, but I will be with you, and you shall strike the Midianites as one man. He says, I'm going to be with you so much that killing off and attacking and defeating this whole band of Midianites, these people that are right now wreaking havoc on your land, it's going to be like you just defeating one guy. It's going to be that easy for you. All right. So then he goes on, and Gideon speaks back to the angel of the Lord. And notice too in verse 16 it says, and the Lord said to him. That's our indication that this angel of the Lord is actually the Lord. It's actually not just any old angel, but a specific one. Gideon then says to him in verse 17, if now I have found favor in your eyes, then show me a sign that it is you who speak with me. Please do not depart from here until I come to you and bring out my present and set it before you. And here again, Gideon is saying, I'm going to come worship you. If it was just an angel, would an angel accept worship? No, he certainly wouldn't. He's going to bring a gift and bring it to the angel, this angel of the Lord. So again, this indicates that this is not just a regular angel, because regular angels always told people, you worship God, you don't worship me. But of course, we know that the Lord can receive worship. Jesus can be worshipped. So he goes on to say then, I'm going to bring out my present and set it before you. And then the angel of the Lord said to him, I will stay until you return. Yes?
I thought that we could tell that it was Jesus because it said the angel of the Lord instead of an angel.
Yeah, well, sometimes that can be helpful, but sometimes sometimes it will say the angel of the Lord when it's just talking about the angel that's in that text. The angel said this, the angel said that. So that's an indicator. If it doesn't have that, we can be pretty sure that it's not. But we have to look and see the whole context many times to help be sure. All right. So Gideon then, in verse 19, goes into his house, and he prepares a young goat and unleavened cakes from an ephah of flour. That's a small measurement of flour. Well, a few cups of flour. The meat he put in a basket, and the broth he put in a pot, and he brought them to him under the terebinth and presented them. And the angel of God. Oh, yes, Hannah.
What's broth?
Oh, broth is like the juice, when you cook chicken or a roast and there's all that juice in there that we use to make gravy. That juice is the broth. That's the broth. Xander?
Why did he bring the broth out the other things were there, but why did he just bring the broth out as a dish?
I don't know. He brought it out in the pot still. Probably, it could have been to dip the bread in, to sop the bread, maybe. I mean, we don't know all about their customs in that day, but he's just and it could be that maybe he had turned it into a gravy of some sort. We're not entirely sure, but he brought it out in the pot. Don?
Since this was under the time of the law of Moses, was he doing something improper because he was not a priest?
Well, we're not sure. When he says he's bringing a gift, he could just be meaning he's bringing some food to share. It may not necessarily be, because this is not exactly the way that an offering necessarily would have been done either necessarily. But it certainly is an odd time for the way things are being done. We've talked about before this, everyone was doing what was right in their own eyes. So it's definitely an odd time. Weird things are happening, so it's hard to know for sure. Obviously, God is not upset at him or angry at him for what he's doing. So it could be that he's okay with what's being done here. But again, it could just be when you have a messenger, a traveler, you're being hospitable, you fix them food. And that could be what he means. Just don't leave, wait, and I'll bring you some food here. But of course, it's not going to be food. We're going to find out here what happens to it. So he brings all of this. He brings the meat, he brings the bread, he brings the pot full of broth and he presents them to the angel of the Lord. Verse 20 says, and the angel of God said to him, take the meat and the unleavened cakes and put them on this rock, and then pour the broth over them. And he did so. Then the angel of the Lord reached out the tip of the staff that was in his hand, and he touched the meat and the unleavened cakes, and the angel of the Lord vanished from his sight. So he said, put the meat and the bread there and pour the juice on it, And he does, and then the angel reaches out and touches it and vanishes. And so, quite a fascinating thing. And that's certainly a shocking thing to get in. And we'll look at that next time. So be sure that you continue following. We have the videos on Sundays and Wednesdays. We have the other lessons in text format during the other days of the week. So we hope that you enjoyed this and hope this will help you with your Bible study today.